All right. Well, I know we're going to have people continuing to come in, but I want to, in the interest of time, go ahead and jump on in. You'll notice that for the beginning part of this, because we had so many people RSVP, that your participation is your mic is muted. But you're welcome to put a question in the chat, and then as we get to QA, we will open up everyone's microphones too. So, but we just didn't want the accidental moment where someone is, talking to their puppy dog in the background, and we all have to hear about the puppy dog. So, um, I'm Adam. It's wonderful to see you. And before we even do introductions, we're going to start with a very simple question, which is, it's been about 10 months. How are you doing today? How are you doing tonight? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling optimistic? Are you feeling worried? Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling ready for the holidays? If you feel like sharing your feeling, you can share it into the chat, but you don't need to. It's entirely whatever you'd like to do. So as you think about that, we're gonna do some introductions, and I'm gonna walk through the flow of the evening. So for the next couple minutes, we'll just do introductions and then we will dive right into tips and tricks. And this is going to be the format. Understanding your coverage. We're going to talk a little bit about what this crazy Category C coverage is and where it came from and how to understand it. We're going to teach you about how to use photos, videos, and receipts as a way to build your list. There are some brand new folks we know from the emails we've gotten who are joining in, and there's a bunch of folks who are also have been using our tool for a while. So we're going to go into some of the more advanced features. We have been in community with you now since January when my parents' house burned down. And we are learning from you and building features that you're asking for. So we'll share some of those. We're going to talk with Annie, who will properly intro in a minute, but who has really been one of my heroine throughout much of this journey from United Policyholders. And we'll talk about how to prepare that list for submission. We'll talk about navigating the negotiation because you're really entering into a negotiation with an insurance carrier here. And then we'll go to Q&A. And finally, between 7 and 7:30, for anybody who wants to just have some practical hands-on tech help, we're going to stay on from Team Bevel. We can do demos, we can walk you through stuff, we can set up times to talk later if you need help. We're here for you. Oh, let me do the disclaimer. I should have done the intros first, but just I just want to remind everybody, and I'll say this a few times.
Hey, Adam, you've muted yourself somehow. Maybe the last 30 seconds or so.
It has always been my husband's dream to have a mute button for me. That's great. Okay, so I was just saying we are building tools to help you on your journey. We just can't do that work for you at the end of the day. We can't know your stuff, you know your stuff. But working together, we know we can all make each other have a better outcome in this process. So let me introduce myself briefly. I'm Adam. I'm a co-founder of Bevel. My parents' house burned in the Palisades fire. I grew up in the Palisades. I went to Pali High, and I've been out in back. I live in New York mostly now with my family, but we're back and forth to LA all the time. It's my hometown, and I love it. And my career has been in the consumer tech industry at Google, at Etsy, and at Teachers Pay Teachers. And let me ask my co-founder Arvind to introduce himself briefly.
Hey everyone, my name is Arvind. I grew up in California as well. I lived in New York for about 10 years, but I'm back in California now and really happy to be back here and building tools to help people come back from this.
And Harel, you want to say hello? Harel's muted. We accidentally muted him. All right, I'll say hello for you. All the wonderful pricing features are from Harel. He is incredible. And Desi, are you muted or can you talk?
I can talk. I'm sorry that so many people in here have my name. Um, I'm Desi and I just joined Bevel and I'm really excited to get to talk with you guys today.
Wonderful. And someone has a raised hand, and Desi, if you would check on those and just message us with things, then that would be great. Uh, and then I want to introduce really, I've met so many wonderful people on this journey, but almost nobody more wonderful than Annie Barber. Annie is a survivor of the Tubbs fire in Northern California, and since then, she has dedicated herself to helping communities like ours get back on our feet, particularly around insurance, with this wonderful organization called United Policyholders. Annie, say hello and tell us about yourself.
Yeah, Annie Barber, for those of you who I have not met as of yet, hi, Dawn. Um, I am just feeling very fortunate that I get to do this kind of work because I know that we do not want anybody starting from scratch and having to figure out what we already know. And I think Bevel is an amazing tool, and that's why I'm here supporting them.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. And I know we have more people coming on, so I just want to say as you're coming on now, we are recording this. So if you missed stuff because you were stuck in the waiting room, we apologize, but it'll all be recorded. We'll share it back. And also, for those of you who are furious note takers, do it if you love it, but we're going to make the recording available so you can go back over it again. You can review stuff. So I want you to feel like you can be as present as you need to be. So Bevel started with my own family's journey. My parents' house, you see it there. That's my mom, Judy, and the house burned in the fires. And the list you see on the far right hand side of the screen was how they were making their insurance inventory list. And we thought there's got to be a better way. And Arvind went to a coffee shop when he was then in Philadelphia, where his wife is an emergency room pediatric doctor. And he spent a couple hours on the weekend and coded up the first version of Bevel and set us on the journey that we have now been on. So let's first talk about your coverage. And most of us we knew we had homeowners insurance, but I didn't know what was in my homeowners insurance. So I thought we would do a quick review of what most policies look like. We have a lot of State Farm people, and I will tell you that the category letters are different for State Farm. So don't mind that. The basics of the policy are the same, but State Farm likes to call category B what a lot of others call category C. Don't mind that. You might have figured out that you have this max limit on your policy, and we don't really know, you may not know where it came from. So your dwelling coverage is your category A, and that is usually based on data about your local neighborhood and the characteristics of your home. Did it have an asphalt roof? Did it have a shingle roof? Things like that. Category B, which is other structures, is usually just 10% of the first number. There's no big science here. It's 10%. Check your policy. That's probably what it is. And what about your personal property? Some of us on this call have been collecting antiques since the dawn of time. And some of us on the call have like an IKEA sofa we were just fine with. And we all have the same way of getting this number. It's typically 50 to 70% of the value of your dwelling. So if that seems like it doesn't feel very scientific, we would agree with you. Category C personal property contents is typically in the industry joked about as being everything you have in your house that if you shook it upside down would fall out. So it's not the walls, it's not the kitchen countertops, but it's everything else that's loose in the house. And then now, how many of you have heard these dreaded and confusing words, actual cash value, ACV, RCV replacement value? So we're going to let Annie, who has become painfully an expert in this, tell us what these mean.
So first I have to deny what he just said because insurance is a complicated monster. And I will never be an expert because it's continuously changing. But so actual cash value is a depreciated value on your contents. What it was worth the day before your loss. Most people don't have ACV. Most people have replacement value. And hopefully all of you have replacement value. The replacement value comes into play with, initially they depreciate it. You send that list in and they're going to depreciate it. And you're going to be a little bit in a panic if you don't know that. And then when you replace that item, that's when you get the replacement value. So we're going to use this couch as an example. If you have 2 couches in your home and one is in your family room and the dog's on top of it and the kids are climbing all over it and it's 10 years old, it's going to get depreciated a lot. If you have one in a formal living room and you use it twice a year, that's in very good condition, and that will be depreciated at a much lower rate. It's your job to make sure that that is actually qualified that way when they send you this back. And for either one, the replacement value is the difference when you go and purchase that couch. So if they knock it down to $300 and it's $1,800 today, they will give you that $300, and then the $1,800, the difference, the $1,500, you will get a check for. And that is part of the replacement value. And that's the part that people get a little confused on, or maybe even a little panicked about. I don't think that many of you will have actual cash value, but that is the difference if you do.
Thank you, Annie. We're gonna head into the next section now. We've gotten some messages that people are still having a hard time getting in. If someone is messaging you that they're having a hard time getting in, will you put it in the chat and we will try to follow up and see what happens? But tell them to just register a second time with their same name. Maybe something happened in the process. We want everyone to be here, and we bought a big license, so we know there's room for everybody. So
Yeah.
tips, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just about to say, if everyone could go back and find the initial email that was sent out right after registration, I think there was perhaps a problem with resharing, and then people can't register multiple times under the same name. So if everyone could check their email and just go back to Zoom and see if they can access it through that first link.
And Desi, maybe we can just take the take the reg off if that's possible, just because
Yes,
we want people to get in.
of course.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And please tell your friends if someone did get stuck, the recording will be available to them. And so we want everyone available to be able to be here. So let's talk a little bit about the list itself and what Bevel does. So, oops, it's going backwards, where I am. So Bevel basically started out as a way to make a very smart spreadsheet. And now what most people do is they upload photos of their items or their whole rooms. And they can upload videos, they can upload photos, you can do receipts. And we'll give you lots and tips and tricks about how to create rooms and custom rooms along the way. We're going to do a demo, so don't worry about taking copious notes. Bevel can pull proof of price and that item from the web. And that has been a feature people ask for. They say, well, I feel like my item is worth a lot, and I want to make sure my adjuster understands that. So, this is a way to show, hey, this is where it's available on the web right now. You know your items and use your knowledge. You're going to see some spaces to put the age and the condition of the item. And Annie was just mentioning, do you want to share why that's, again, so important?
They are going to value something that is in great shape a lot differently than something that you say is good. But if you do not share with them the condition, it doesn't matter what the age is as much as it matters with the condition. If you have 5 shirts that you got right before the fire, say Christmas, and you lump them together with 10 other shirts, they're going to depreciate them to a very low amount. You're going to want to parcel those out at 5 in excellent condition, like new, and then maybe do 2 subcategories from there. You want to capture as much money as you possibly can. And we don't ever want to falsify anything. If you say everything is in excellent condition, that'll be a red flag for them. And, they may give you a little call about that. So you want to be truthful, but you also want to make sure that you capture what you actually had.
Great. So we also let you upload receipts and Amazon lists. So this is a big tip. If you have a lot of stuff that you think you can't remember what it was, but you bought it on Amazon, if you email Amazon, they'll send you the list in a spreadsheet and you can upload that right into our tool as well. So any other receipts as well. And now I'm going to hand it over to Arvind, who will do some live demoing because you're tired of listening to me. I'm tired of talking. Okay.
All right, let me share my screen here. Great. All right, so this is Bevel. This is the web app, but you can also use it on your phone. It'll work pretty much the same exact way, and soon we'll have an iOS app as well. So when you log in, you'll see that there's rooms, and these rooms represent basically all the rooms in your house. And when you add a room, you'll notice that we suggest some easily forgotten items. We built this feature just to make it easy for you to remember all the things that might be in that room. And when you tap an item, it'll price it for you. It'll price it based on an average for this item, but you should come in and replace it with more specifics around exactly what that item is. So I'll say Crate and Barrel 88-inch Eris sofa. And then in a second, you'll see that if I actually, let me do a different brand here. Let's do room and board. So you'll see here that it says, actually, this is more like a $3,500 couch, and you can accept that. But the most popular way to get items into our tool is by uploading images and videos. So I'm going to go ahead and select a couple of images here. I'm not sure if you can see the images, but I'll show you the images that I selected in just a minute or so. So Bevel will come in and it'll analyze all the items that are found in those images using the definition of if you turn your house upside down and shake it, these are the things that would fall out. So you start to see here all the items that get processed from the image. And I will actually pop into one of these and I'll show you the source image. So let's go to wooden dresser, for example. So you can see here, this is a dresser that got picked up and it's valuing it at about $1,200. Recently, we added a feature called Price Check. And what this does is it'll actually go out to the internet and find an exact price for that item. And if it's not found, or if it's not being sold today, we'll find you an alternative that is similar, that looks similar, that also matches your brand and model. So this is really useful because oftentimes insurance companies will ask you for evidence on why you selected a certain price. And with Price Check, you can give that to them in a really easy way. And it just reduces the back and forth around why you selected a certain price. We also added the ability for you to share. So if you have family members, you can share the claim with them. You can share it either as edit or view mode. If you share with edit, they'll come in and they'll be able to make all the changes that you can. If it's in view mode, they can only view things, but they cannot make any modifications. And then finally, you can export all this into a spreadsheet and make it really easy to share with your carrier. That spreadsheet will include, if there's images on an item, it'll include a link that the insurance company can also click on to see those images. And ultimately, we want to really get rid of the spreadsheet. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but we think that we can just make this a much more simple process where you can just go back and forth and get to a number with your insurance company through Bevel and avoid that often frustrating process with the spreadsheet and going between email and back and forth. So that's Bevel.
Great.
We're gonna switch back to the deck now, and then we'll leave time for questions. And if people are playing with the tool, we're happy to help you with any tech issues that come up towards the end of the call.
Great. So I think I have to go back and share again the deck here. All right. Wow. I think
Adam, I'm going to answer a couple of questions that are in the chat that seem
Sure.
common
Thanks,
real
Annie.
quick. So one question is their insurance company wants them to use their format. You get to use whatever format you would like to use, and that is part of the insurance claim rules. They cannot force you to use their spreadsheet or their way of capturing it. You could use 5 different ways if you wanted to. And the other question was, I'm sorry. Bevel doesn't estimate the age of the item or the condition. That's where you fine tune it because Bevel is not going to have that information.
Right. And there's some more good questions about like, what do we do with your data? Great question. We have some answers coming up. Keep the questions coming in. So let's talk about readying your list for submission. So you do this whole process. You've uploaded photos. There are ways to upload your photo. We can play around with all the buttons, have a good time. There's a lot of secret and fun features. How do you ready that list for submission? Well, you first download it, as Arvin said. It'll be broken down into a spreadsheet by room, And there'll be a link to every image that you've uploaded. So that is a link that we can turn off, but if you need to send a file with photos to your adjuster, those links in the files will link out to your photos. That's so that your proof goes with the spreadsheet. And you'll see all the categories that they're asking for: age, condition, product links if you've uploaded a product link, which you can do, or if you've chosen one of the ones that our search feature has found for you, it all shows up in the spreadsheet. One thing we tell people is some people make an edit and then they think, oh gosh, I have to start editing my spreadsheet. Actually, if you just go back into Bevel and make your edit in Bevel, just download a fresh one. We'll give you a fresh one every time. So, and someone is asking about condition. Yes, we have an antique. We list it as an antique. We have that option for you. So final touches. Annie, this feels like a good place for you to talk about. How do you polish that thing up before you send it in?
Yeah, you want to go through this and you want to make sure that it's as comprehensive as it can possibly be. And you will have to, you'll get this back and you'll have to relook at it, make sure that they have not depreciated overall a classic 30% or 40% universal. You have to make sure that they know that you knew what you had. You can add shipping, you can add the sales tax, and I strongly suggest you do that. And if you need to have an item actually assembled, you can add that also. So,
And I will just jump in, Annie, and say those features aren't available in Bevel yet. So that's something you'll have to do on the spreadsheet. Sales tax is a tricky widget from state to state and city to city. So we just have to get the full logic before we embed that. So that's why you don't have it.
Yep. Absolutely. And so you want to do all of this. You will forget stuff. I am 8 years from my disaster. I can still think of things that should have gone on that quote unquote list. So just know, you just keep adding to it. It's not like you're one and done. You have up to 2 years to submit, and you can ask for extensions also. So don't be stressed about, oh my gosh, I forgot this whole room, or I forgot the garage. Anything that you see when you're out and about, start another list.
Great point. So we do get some questions, and Annie, you'll speak to this. One thing that I want to do the first one and then hand it back to you if I can, which is a lot of people say to me casually, "Oh, well, I listen, these are not people who've been through what we've been through. These are our friends who have not lived through a disaster. Will say, oh, my couch is the only valuable thing I have." Well, it turns out we now know from data, everything in your kitchen drawers adds up to a ton. Everything in your laundry room adds up to a ton. We buy things, you don't buy a couch real often, but you're at Target a lot buying all kinds of stuff. So try to remember that the list really will add up. The numbers will add up. And then go ahead. Yeah.
What I like to share is that every woman has 5 kinds of shampoo, 4 that she doesn't use, but you still purchased all that. And you don't just have Advil, you have Advil, Aleve, so many different kinds of pain medicine. So you want to capture all that, and that can be kind of difficult, right? And you're not going to have pictures of absolutely everything, but you can also do sub lists. So you can use this app for the big stuff. You can use it for the small stuff also. You can share with each other. You don't want to copy verbatim, but if you get somebody else's list, black out the items you do not have. We have a lot of common items in our houses. Think about spices. Think about cleaning supplies. All of that stuff can be captured, and it will make it a lot easier. You can go to Target and you can ask to set up an account like you're getting married. And they will allow you to go around with their Telzon machine and scan all the items that you had. If you do that, share those. Everybody has tape. How many kinds of tape? Tape, masking tape, gift wrap tape. um, duct tape, right? But you're not going to remember all that little stuff. So help each other out in that.
And I will just say, if you're using a way to prompt yourself or remind yourself, someone asked in the chat, you know, if you don't have a picture of your kitchen drawers anymore to be able to look to, what can you do? And, you know, one item might be if you have an aunt and her kitchen has similar stuff, take a photo of her stuff and then use that as a template to edit from. Just remove the photos because that's not your we'll have to make sure if you do want to do that, make sure you can feel free to ask us any questions so you don't accidentally delete your work. But you know, there are ways to use other photos as well. And don't lie or embellish. Sometimes get these questions, and Annie said it. We've seen a few cases where people get really excited about trying to get to the big number, but don't put yourself in the audit queue there.
No, that's just adding more stress to an already stressful situation. It's a no-win.
That's right. And we give you the pricing numbers. That's not what your insurance company may agree with. You're going to be in a negotiation with them. You don't even have to include price in the list when you submit it. We're giving you that pricing information because we know we're all trying to understand how to get the max value back out of our policy number. So that gives you a sense of what's there. And if you feel an item is important to submit the price, you can absolutely submit the price. All right. So our most frequent questions. So I'm going to move to some other stuff and then wow, we're on time. We're doing great. I don't want to take us off track, but that's great. Can I use Bevel for other homes is a question I get. Yes, absolutely. You can use it proactively. As you're getting stuff now that you're repopulating your life with new things, use it for that. Tell your friends to use it. We're happy to have anyone be more prepared. In fact, Annie has been kind in helping us get to meet many other organizations that are working in disasters. And we are encouraging them to use it in preparedness events. Go help your grandma at Christmas. Anything you can do. Let's I don't want anybody to have a disaster and not have their list ready. If we'd had our list ready, we would have been in a much better place.
And it's a lot more fun than writing it out. It flows easier. Honestly, I've played with this over and over again, and people get so excited when they upload a photo. And we had one gal at one of our workshops who stood up in the middle of the room and said, "Oh my God, my husband just uploaded a photo off of social media and it picked everything up and priced it." So have fun with it. This journey is not fun, but this can be.
So some people have asked some really important questions about privacy and data protection. So I'm going to hand that over to Arvind for this.
Yeah, these are all great questions, and I can share a little bit about our security posture here. We're primarily built on Google Cloud, and we have all the security that Google provides to its own backend. What this means is that all the data in our database is fully encrypted. The data sent from the Bevel website into our database is also encrypted, so people can't snoop in the middle and get access to it. We're also what's called SOC 2 compliant, which is an industry-leading standard for security and privacy practices. And then as far as the data that is stored in our database, if you ever do want to get rid of your data, you can just email us. We'll fully delete it for you, and nobody will have access to it at that point, including our team. We also don't sell or share any of your personal information. All we do is we look at the data in aggregate in an anonymized way just to understand like some of the trends and patterns of how people are using the app.
And that allows us to be smarter as we build more tools, right? So, and we're happy to answer more detailed questions. I know we often we'll find someone who's a privacy lawyer or is in IT and wants to ask more detailed questions. We're really happy to go detailed with you on this stuff. We care a lot about this, and we've spent our careers in the consumer internet where data privacy and protection matter a lot. So Annie, these are questions we hear a lot. I'm already seeing them in the chat. Help us through these tough situations that so many people are facing.
Yeah, so let's start out with the multiple adjusters, which makes it really difficult. I hope all of you are at this stage are recapping in email format every conversation you have with your adjuster, naming them, the date will be on there, and just saying, I talked to this person on this date, and this is what I heard them say. That's your paper trail. And if you come up against the wall and you need to file a complaint with the Department of Insurance or, God forbid, get a lawyer, that is, you're showing that you acted in good faith and you tried to deal with all this. That is so important. The 6 adjusters is a wonderful tool that State Farm really did a great job of doing in my fire. We had a guy down the street who had 19 adjusters. How do you keep up with that? Well, there is now an insurance claim rule that once you've had your 3rd adjuster, you are entitled to 1 point of contact. And all you need to do is tell them, and I'll put the insurance rules in the chat for everybody to look at. They're telling me they have to use their format. Again, we have that on our insurance rule list, and it's not true. You get to do it any way that you're comfortable doing it, as long as you check all the boxes. Should I get a public adjuster? Some people should get a public adjuster, but the majority of people after a disaster are underinsured and really don't want to give up a percentage of their claim to have it worked through. So if you get a public adjuster, there's a couple things you need to be very conscious of, which is you've been given a good amount of money already. Make sure that contract does not include that money, that they get a percentage of that. And make sure that you're using someone that someone else has had some success with. I know that there's a lot of different, there's Discord, there's WhatsApp. Check to see who's actually doing a good job. And I believe it's 8 to 10%. It should not ever be, we have heard of those coming in for 20%. Please don't get taken by them. How long should I expect? I'm assuming you're talking about how long should you expect before you get paid or before you get a response? You should be
We've actually had both those questions. Yeah.
perfect. So you should be able to get a response within 15 days. And again, that's in our California rules. You have to, I was on a webinar and there was the Department of Insurance was on there. And the question was asked, so how long do they have? And the response was 15 days. The funny part was then he added, but you have to ask for a response. I know that sounds kind of ludicrous, but make sure you make that ask. And how long should I expect for this process? It'll depend on if the moon and the stars align. You're going to take it one day at a time in increments that you can handle. Each claim will be different. You'll have different adjusters, different insurance companies, and different challenges. So for the longevity of this, no, it's a marathon and not a sprint. They're delaying endlessly. Are there any rules about that? You want to document that. So anytime you're not getting responses, anytime that there's a lag in communication, you want to document that because that can extend those points, those time frames in your policy. You can say, well, you didn't get back to me. I emailed you 5 times and it took 6 months to get this information. I couldn't move forward. So again, that email documentation is huge. And I will put that California claim rules in the chat.
Thank you, Annie. And I just put your organization. We'll show you your website later. But so much information on United Policyholders, which is uphelp.org. And so if you're feeling stuck, boy, it's a treasure trove of wonderful information on all aspects of insurance and how to cope. I'm going to go on to a few more questions, and then we're going to go to Q&A, so we stay right on time. How does Bevel make money? Well, we don't. We've funded this out of love in our own pocketbooks. Our goal, however, is to ditch the spreadsheet. We actually think that this whole idea of building in a spreadsheet makes no sense. And so our goal is to build a product that allows insurance companies to offer you the chance to do this directly with them. And we've started talking to some insurance companies about that. I want to be totally clear. We are not sharing your data with insurance companies. Your data is your data. We will never share across those boundary lines. We ultimately want to make this whole aspect of insurance claims go away. We think it's unhelpful to everyone. And there's some terribly frustrating insurance companies, but there have been some wonderful ones working very hard in a tough situation, and they don't want their customers going through this either. So there's one company that I guess we'll probably never work with, but there's a lot we would love to help out. By the way, on adjusters, one of the things we've learned, and you may know too, many of these adjusters don't work for your insurance company. They're actually independently contracted. You don't know what they've been told that they're allowed to do or not do. So you can always ask those questions too. Annie is amazing. I mean, obviously, I'm an enormous fan. So United Policyholders, uphelp.org is their organization. And I'm going to move us into the Q&A phase. So I think the best way to do this is if you raise your hand, can we see you? There's so many folks on. I want to make sure that that'll work. And you have both our information, our website here, info@bevelmade.com, to email us if you need to get to us. Bevelmade.com is where you'll find all of our tools, and bevelmade.com/media is where you will find stories that have been done and how-to videos, lots of how-to videos if you want to be able to go a little deeper. So let's go to questions.
If you guys also asked some questions previously in the chat, I wrote some notes, so I can also run through those as well. Or we can start with any pressing questions as well right
You
now.
can raise if you want to raise your hand if you have a question. Otherwise, Desi will start going through, and we may not be able to see you with so many people on. It's a very big webinar, so also put them in the chat. So why don't we start going through questions from the chat, Desi?
Sure thing. Vicky just asked, I have a good public adjuster who's doing the contents from photos and my receipts. I've urged them to use AI, but they feel it's not advanced enough.
So, I mean, I think that the most important thing on this is you are in charge of your list. And if your adjuster feels like they have a way that they're comfortable with, that's great. If they want to try out Bevel and see if that helps them do it faster, hey, try it out. It's completely a choice. But certainly you want to be the final one who says, yep, this is my item and I feel good about this data. And sir, you've somehow got Desiree's name, but you've got your hand raised. So we're gonna unmute you. And can you unmute yourself, or can Desi? I think you're in charge of the unmuting situation. Oh, can you?
I just
I just gave it the ability to unmute, so you should be able
Thanks,
to.
Arvin. Okay, go ahead.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thanks. First of all, thanks a lot for this. This is really amazing. I wish I had known about this a little bit before, because my parents actually is the one, they actually lost their home in Altadena. And my dad actually just finished doing his inventory. He didn't finish it, he's still working on it, but he did a lot over the weekend writing it down. And I'm trying to import that into a spreadsheet. So my block captain actually told me about this product, so I'm glad I attended this here. One of the questions I had is, Annie, when you were talking about the clothes, my mom had a lot of clothes there, but you were saying, like, I had heard that it may be easier to put all of those clothes in one batch and give a price tag to all of that. But it sounds like what you were saying is, hey, if she's got new clothes and old clothes, we probably need to separate that out. Is that right?
Absolutely. You know, we all have our wedding attire, unfortunately, our funeral attire. We don't wear that stuff that often. So you do not want that to be just kind of universally depreciated. You want to capture, because if you're not wearing it very often, it's in very good condition or excellent condition. So you do want to capture that part of it. You can lump different things.
Okay.
Just make sure that if you're lumping, that you're doing, 2 or 3 different conditions on those and ages.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
dress slacks, you might want to do 2. Maybe you had 3 pair that you had for the last 3 years, but you've only worn them a few times. And then you
Oh,
had the older ones.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. And Louis Estrada?
Yeah, thank you for letting us join your Zoom meeting tonight. I just had a quick question in regards to if I'm having trouble getting everything processed with your app, is there like a help menu somewhere, or does somebody
There's an
come out and show us how to do it, or how would that work?
Absolutely. So there's an FAQ, and you can try that. But there's also our email address, info@bevelmade.com. Arvind and I like to spend, and Desi like to spend our Saturday nights responding to that. And there's also a WhatsApp group. So if you use WhatsApp, you can find the link to that. We'll let you into the WhatsApp group, and then you can get help from us, or lots of community members can also help you. There's more than 200 people in that group, and we're all trying to get to the same end goal.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much.
Of course, and welcome. And by the way, some people have asked if it's a app on the App Store, and it will be. We're working on it. It's not yet. It's a web app. So that means when you're on your mobile phone, you can still use it just the same as you would an app, but you just go through your browser on the mobile phone. Leo.
Hi, Adam. I just want to say I really appreciate all you've done. We've been using your app since it started. My wife's a little upset because she keeps getting locked out from this meeting.
Oh, we were having Zoom problems. Yeah. If Arvind had built the Zoom with Harel, it would be much better.
So, but the question I have is, I guess for Annie, and that is it best to submit the list all at once, or do you just print out a couple rooms and then send it to them as a partial list to see how they react to it? And what is the reaction Adam, that you guys have had with these insurance companies, for instance, Mercury or whoever, accepting your lists and your prices that you assign to it?
Let me let Annie take the first bit, and then I'll come around.
Good questions. So you can do it any way you want. In my fire, we generally did partial lists, because we couldn't wrap our head around all of it, and it was difficult. So this does expedite it and makes it a little bit easier for you, definitely. But don't think twice about simply getting it printed out, write partial list and the date, make a copy, and send that on and start a new one.
No, but what I was wondering is, how the insurance people handle it. I don't know if I want to ask him if he wants to get a list with 14,000 items all at once, or does he want,
It
a
doesn't
couple
really,
hundred to see how he reacts to the prices that
and you can do that.
Bevel has made it?
You can do that. You can send in a test, do one room, and see how they price it and what kind of reaction you get. If that makes you feel better, I think that's a great way to start. But I don't think it's going to matter one way or another.
Okay, so that's what I was after, was your opinion on whether it was better to do one or the other.
There is something that they love to say, which is that you have to show forward progress. So at some point, adjusters will say, I don't have your list. I need your list. And they'll hound you a bit for that.
Yes.
And that's when you say, okay, I'll send you what I have. I'm showing I'm in compliance.
And in terms of what we've heard from people, we've certainly gotten some wonderful notes saying people have gotten all of their contents, but we don't require or ask you in the app process to tell us. So if people would email us or message us and tell us how things have gone, that would be really helpful. I will say my anecdotal perception is that some carriers are trying to figure out how to make this work, and some carriers aren't trying to help figure out how to make it work, and some adjusters are trying to figure out how to make it work, and some adjusters aren't. And I know that's really unsatisfying, but we're just seeing from, I'm in every WhatsApp channel, and that's just what we're seeing is some people are having good experiences and others are having terrible ones with the same list.
So Adam, when you send the list and you have links attached to it, are the links just there, or do they actually links for them to use?
The links go to the photo, but they don't go to your Bevel account.
But so the links, if I went to a website to show, and I've done that a couple times, attached a link to a website that shows a
Oh,
particular item and the
yeah.
price for it.
Those go to the website.
And so that would not show up to the insurance company's list that they get, right? So it's not like in the spreadsheet, it has a link. It's just a regular PDF of a spreadsheet, so to
No,
speak.
no, no, it has a link. So try downloading it and play with the links. So the links are all there, and then you could manually remove them if you didn't want to, but the spreadsheet has a link in it. It's not a PDF. It's an Excel spreadsheet or a numbers spreadsheet or a Google spreadsheet.
And that's what gets sent to the insurance company?
So we don't send anything to the insurance company. You do. So you download it and then you look at it. And then when you're happy with that, you send that to the insurance company. We're not connected directly to the insurance company.
And so then the question to Annie is, do you send them a PDF of the spreadsheet, or do you want to send them an actual spreadsheet that A, they can edit, or, B, has the links on it?
You want to give them as much information as you can. So
Okay.
if you want to attach those pictures, absolutely. Because you don't want to have to do this twice. If they lowball you because they're not recognizing what it is that you had value of, then you're going to have to fight that battle again. So give them all the information you can.
And Annie, I want to make sure we get some other questions that are here too. But Annie, I think one thing you've said to me is that think of this as you're entering into a negotiation, not you're going to turn it in and get a final answer.
Right, absolutely.
Right. So you're just putting the first negotiation round in, right?
Yep. Yeah. So you're going to get that list back and you're going to have your other ones to compare it to, and you're going to make darn sure that the depreciation isn't like across the board, a certain percentage. They should be valuing each item for age and condition. And you want to hold them to that because
Right.
that's how they kind of knock your pricing down.
Right. Okay, great. And then it says your name is Hank, but I don't think your name is Hank.
You're right, it's not. I'm registered under my husband. Thank you. Quick question about replacement value. So if I originally bought a sofa from Crate and Barrel, say for $2,000, and after the ACV value is $500, let's say I want to go out and buy a new sofa, but I don't want to buy a Crate and Barrel one. I want to buy one from a different retailer. Can I still submit that receipt and get replacement value on it?
So the insurance companies like to use the words like and kind. You will
Okay.
not be able to replace everything. You will not be able to get pricing on everything that you had. Dishware, pots and pans, I mean, they change constantly.
Right,
So as
right.
long as you're doing like and kind, you should
Okay.
not have a problem.
Okay, thank you for that.
Lewis Alton, I think you're next in line.
Hello,
Hi,
White fedora, dark fedora.
can you see us or hear us?
we hear you. We hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a bunch of questions real quick. Like a lot of stuff in our house, it didn't depreciate, it appreciated. How do you handle that? And also, when you talk about negotiation, let's say for our content, it was 700,000. And what they did, they offer us 80% of that with no questions asked, but to itemize to get the 100% of that, so to speak. So is when you're saying negotiating, is that what you're talking about? Negotiating to get that 700,000 or
So
what?
you're negotiating, you're making sure that when you send that list in, that they actually, when they send it back to you and acknowledge how much you have there, that they have acknowledged it properly. That's where the negotiation goes in, where you're saying, no, this item appreciated, or this item is an antique, so therefore it can't be depreciated, and you depreciated it. That's the negotiation part.
Okay, so once you get it, let's just say you get up and they're willing to pay the 700, you should just be satisfied then?
You're not going to get more than what's in your policy. There's no negotiating to get more. You can only do that if you take them to court and you actually have evidence that they underinsured you. And that's a tough one to show.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, our pleasure. And yeah, our pleasure, of course. Beth, I think you were up.
Yes, I had a couple questions. One is, so I understand the whole process for submitting the depreciated, and getting your depreciated amount. And then we buy this new thing. And what I don't understand is, does Bevel have a capability where there's somehow a correlation with like this item number equals this receipt, or how does that part go?
So you're talking about, it sounds like policies are all different. So I want to make sure I understand the question.
Yeah, so in my policy, I have replacement value, but I am going to, let's say the same example of the couch. I get 500 for the depreciated value and I buy the new couch, and couch is a bad example, maybe because it's pretty obvious couch is couch, but like if there's something where it's like, which item does this correlate to on the receipt of what I repurchased?
Right. You can go back to that line item and you can attach a receipt and change the value.
But okay, so I can attach a receipt, change the value, but then is there something where my insurance is then flagged that like, oh,
No,
this one
'cause
you replaced?
we don't connect to your insurance.
I know, but like, how does insurance know then? Because I haven't submitted anything yet for the contents, and so I guess I don't really understand. So you submit your first list, and you haven't maybe bought any replacement stuff yet, but you are just trying to get the depreciated amount first, and then you're starting to slowly buy your stuff again. And as you're slowly buying the stuff, you're accumulating receipts for that stuff, and that only when I feel like it's only when you can prove that you bought it again do you get the remainder difference.
Correct.
So I don't know if it's an Annie question, maybe, but like, I don't understand how that process works.
So that
easily.
process works that you have your list, they depreciate it. That couch gets depreciated to $300. You go and you replace it. So you've gotten the 300 and it's 1,500 to replace it. Now they owe you 1,200 with that receipt for like and kind. Does
But
that
how
make sense?
yeah, I understand that part, but what I don't understand is like, what am I doing? Am I process? Like, am I uploading a receipt? Is there anything
So-
associated with Bevel that helps me with
What-
that side of it, or no?
But here's what I would do. It's a great point. And by the way, every feature we build is because we get a question like this, and we're going to go back into our little thinking lab, and we may be able to come up with some better answers. In the near term, what we have built and we haven't fully released, but we'll release shortly, is the ability to have multiple households in your claim. So what I would do is, as I buy new items, I would put them in my new household. Does that make sense? And then you'll be building a household of all your new stuff, and then you can use that as a way to manage your receipts. But I think at the moment you're still gonna have to go back and forth with them and say like, here's my proof of purchase for that item, this item, that item, or you can do it.
Yeah. Okay. It's gonna be more like, okay, this is item number 1,213, and here's my receipt for this, and it's like
Probably.
onesie twosie. Okay.
Maybe we can build something for the future though. That's a great point, and I'm glad you raised it.
I actually think it would be a great idea, because a lot of times, if you just have like almost like a checkbox that's like, yes, I've rebought this, and like, and then it can be all correlated.
I love it. Beth, I want to make sure we just can we?
Oh yeah, I'll let someone else
chat?
go.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's a lot of people are signed in as Leanne, so you're probably not Leanne, but you're listed as Leanne. Okay, we lost that person.
I am Leanne.
Oh, you are Leanne. Okay, great. We had
am.
a bunch of people with that login. So
I
great.
don't know
Leanne.
why that must have been what was going on when I was trying to log in. I was logging in multiple times for this.
Okay, got it. Great.
My question is super simple, and you may not have an answer to it. The upside for me is taking a capital loss on my taxes because we were on fair plan and our contents were woefully under what they needed to be. So do you know if there are any special sort of customs or terms with the tax authorities that Bevel meets? Because I'm going to be using a tool like this to identify all the content so I can make an argument that the $250,000 I got back is severely inadequate versus what I lost.
So on our website is, and I'll put it in the chat, is a Taxing Matters webinar. And I believe, I would have to rewatch it, but I believe that it's just about making that list and being able to show your loss. So I don't know that, just like it's a spreadsheet, so I don't think it would come into play.
You don't think what would come into play?
Whether you use Bevel or another way of capturing your contents.
Oh, okay, okay. It would be for convenience sake and for a completeness sake that I would, because of the AI capabilities, I would think.
It's just faster, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, I think you got to find out from your tax authority or from an attorney, like what the format that they want is, but you should be able to, you could build your baseline list using the tool, right?
Thanks a lot. It's a very impressive tool, you guys.
Well, thanks you. Thank you. Roxanne, I think you're next. You have to unmute yourself?
Should be on the bottom left of your screen.
You unmuted and remuted. Give it one more.
There you go.
Hi.
Does someone else have a computer on listening to this webinar?
I may have.
Yeah, just have
I'm
them
going
click on.
to mute you again for a second, Roxanne. Work on that. We'll come back to you. So
Good.
just, okay. Stephanie Parney. Did you have a question? Okay. There's a couple people named Desiree, and they're all Desi, and that's because we had a funny login bug. So does another Desi want to ask a question?
Hi, this is Stephanie. Can you hear me?
Hi, Stephanie. Yes, we can.
Hi. I'm not sure. I shared my video, but I don't know if you can see me.
We can. Oh, we lost you. You muted.
Good, and now you're muted.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Stephanie. Next to Stephanie is someone named Desiree.
Can you hear me now? Sorry,
yes,
I
Stephanie,
won't
go
tap
ahead.
my phone
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, got it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
My question is, and I'm sorry if I'm starting late. We have a standing home in the fire burn zone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you fine. You have a
Okay.
house in the standing burn zone. Yes.
Right. And so I love your app, and thank you so much for doing this. Honestly, it is just alleviated my heart so much. We are starting the process of taking photos and doing inventory. We have Cal Fair, and they have denied everything. And in our inventory, when I have artwork, do I have to bring in an appraiser to each of the art pieces because your app says, you know, this frame piece of art is 250 and we know 20 years ago we bought it for 15,000. How does that work?
You should remove that price so you can enter the price manually. So absolutely remove that price, because art, we know that the AI is not doing a good job on. So you enter the price in manually, and if you have an appraiser's report, attach it as a receipt. And otherwise just, you know, but I would definitely rely on your knowledge of that art.
Yeah, and same with musical instruments and other things of higher value, because we have a very high personal property with Cal Fair.
Right.
Obviously, they're denying everything, but we do have a high personal property. So are you, Annie, I don't know if you did, do you need an official appraisal of all the things that are above replacement at,
So,
you know,
they're going to want to see something in a lot of these cases. And first you want to look at your policy and see if you have any endorsements or inclusions which would limit or allow you to capture more. So most categories like the artwork would have a limit. And so first, that's the first thing you want to look at.
okay.
Second, you want to make sure that if you know the artist, that you can get some sort of appraisal. Go online. If it's musical instruments, go to a music store, describe what you had, see if they can do an appraisal for you.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Do I have
And
to get an appraisal on my really, really expensive stuff? And I'm sorry, I just came in, but like,
Well,
I-
it
I'm-
depends on what your special stuff is.
I think that may have, I'm not sure what happened there.
Okay.
So, Roxanne, can we give it a shot again? We'd love to hear from you.
Hi,
Oh, perfect. Hi.
that's much better. What about things that are irreplaceable? Example, I was a model as a young girl. My mother bought 3 copies of every magazine I was ever in. Gone.
Mm.
Autographed pictures, pictures of me with stars and, you know, different things that I can't replace. They're just, how do you value those?
So autographed items, you can Google and see what kind of value they have. Sentimental items, the insurance companies don't really acknowledge. So unfortunately, the things that we feel have the most value don't have a lot of value with them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. We had a lot of that stuff too. Painful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I was wondering about the stained glass windows in my 100-year-old house.
You absolutely want to find a stained glass artist and you want to get an appraisal, have them write it.
Okay, good. Okay. I am so grateful for Bevel. Thank you so much for creating this. That it has been heavy on my mind of how am I going to do all of this? And what happens if I accidentally put something on there twice? You know, they're going
So, by the way, double check it, but we've recently released a new duplicate detection feature. And so, again, it's new. We're building this as we're building the airplane as we're flying it. So, don't rely entirely on it, but yes, we know that duplicate detection is an important issue, and we are doing a lot of great work on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then next to you in the box is someone in a who's Desi but not Desi in a yellow sort of marigold colored sweater.
Hi,
Yes,
I'm
yes,
I'm G- I'm Gail.
Hi, Ganan.
Sorry, just a couple really quick, simple. That's probably on your website, but just can you tell me how you put a photo in? Is it just a drop and drag, or
Well, so we are actually moving into the part that we said we are going to do tech demos. So why don't we mix the two together? Arvin, why don't you demo how we upload photos, both at the room level and at the item level? And Arvin will do that, and
and
we'll
then
show
can
you
I
live.
just ask another thing?
Yeah.
Can I do something else? Okay, and that is like, what kind of things can I take pictures of? Like if I have equipments that's specialized for my work that's not commonly, and I happen to have those stored at my house, do I just type in what they are, which I'm hoping I don't have to go to that extent, or can I take photos of things and will it know what those esoteric items are?
It is weirdly good at some esoteric items, so I would try it. I would absolutely try it, and if it gets it wrong, have a laugh, have a glass of wine, and then type it in manually. You know, I mean, but we've had some really funny things where it's gone badly, and some things where it's gone great. I do want to say that for those of you who have to leave us now, thank you so much for joining. But for those of us who want to stay and do this tech portion, please stay on. We're going to stay on till 7:30. So, and let's show how the photo uploads work, Arvin.
And Roxanne, have you seen in the chat the recommendation on the stained glass person who could give you an estimate? I think that's important, and I love the fact that you guys are helping each other out here.
Great. All right, so to upload photos, it's slightly different if you're on a computer versus on a phone, but I'll talk about both. So if you're on a computer, you just hit this button here, click upload images and videos. If that's what you're doing, you can also upload receipts or a CSV. A lot of people get an export of their Amazon purchases, for example, and then upload that in, or even pictures of old receipts that they have hanging around. But essentially click this button and then you just take the photos that you have and drag them into here. You can drag as many as you want. We've had some people upload thousands of photos to extract all the items that they own. So dragging a photo in here. You'll notice here that if you upload the same image, we'll actually alert you saying, hey, this has already been processed, just to prevent like accidental uploading of the
So
same.
Arvin, some people can't see you, so you may see at the top of your Zoom, Arvin Dorai's screen. You may need to click on that if you can't see his screen share. Are you seeing my screen share right now? I'm gonna replace it. How about
I'm
now?
gonna pin myself. Is this better? Can you see it now?
I can see just fine. I think people just need to split their screen, maybe.
Okay. Well, hopefully that works. So and Arvind, I just want to, as people are checking this out, someone asked, where do you get photos of the house if the house burned down? And you know what people do? Find those old holiday photos. Find those old photos of the barbecue. Find those old photos of someone sitting around in the bedroom. Try those as a good starter. Go ahead, Arvind, keep going.
Cool. And if you're on your phone, you can this same button will work. But what's nice about doing it on your phone is you can either take a photo directly from your phone, or you can upload from your camera roll on your phone. So it's a little bit easier than doing it on a computer. And we're also working on an iOS app. I think I mentioned this earlier, but the iOS app, we're hoping to have it done in maybe 2 or so months, and that'll make it much easier for you to use the phone, even if you don't have great internet access, for example.
And in terms of the photos, Arvind, I think maybe we can demo for folks. If you want to add additional photos, so maybe it's a detailed item, you can add additional photos, and then I'm going to start answering some more questions for people as you're doing that.
Yeah. So if that's a great point. You can either upload the photo and have it extract out, or you can come in and add attachments onto an existing item. So a lot of times you might add the item manually, but you want to come in and attach an item to it. So I might actually attach a receipt, right? So I'm uploading a receipt now, and you'll see that it pops up here. And all of the things that you upload, they'll be linked to in the spreadsheet. So when you send it to the insurance carrier, they can just click on that link and they'll see your evidence.
And I think we have a raised hand from Sharon Sutton, if you'd like to.
Can you?
We do.
Okay. I was in the interior design business years ago. And I mean, we lived in our house for 50 years and everything was custom made. I've actually been able to go back to a couple of the companies and get estimates for what they're worth now. I don't want to go out and purchase these things, but I don't have what we paid for it, but I do have replacement cost estimates and I have replacement cost insurance. So can I just submit that receipt and they'll accept that? Or do I have to go out and buy it for them to give me that amount of money?
Unfortunately, the way this works for the insurance is that they will depreciate it first. And then when you replace, that's when you get the replacement value. Not what you wanted to hear. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So that I purchased an armoire for $900. And the replacement cost on it now, because it was custom, is $23,000. I have to go out and buy an armoire in order to get
So what I want you to do is I want you to discuss this with your adjuster. And if you don't get an answer that you're happy with, also double check it with a supervisor that these items have appreciated, not depreciated. And ask them how they would like you to capture that.
And because I do have estimates from the company itself that show the value of these things. Yeah.
And so I think that sounds like a good one to really go back and forth with them about and just ask them. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. There's Arvind, there's another Desi, and who's not Desi, but I don't see your faceless, so I can't. But you're welcome to ask your question. Okay. Well, the person may have just forgotten their hand is up. So we're going to go ahead and keep rolling through some of the tech stuff. And if people have tech-related questions, that's really where we'd love to start.
So I see a relevant question on the chat. All my photos are on Google Drive, and I'll try to upload the photos to Bevel. What you should do is just download that folder from your Google Drive, and then it'll be on your computer, and you can just drag and drop that all the photos in that folder into Bevel. So it's a two-step process. Download from Google Drive to your computer, and then just upload all those photos from your computer into Bevel.
Right. And I would say if they're also in Google Photos, not just Google Drive, but if they're in Google Photos and you have an Android phone, then you'd be able to actually upload directly on your phone by going to bevelmade.com on the Chrome browser and then just going through this same process. Great. Any other tech tips, tricks that people are having questions about? I'm looking in the chat.
I just want to tell you, Leanne Daly has a question. She has her hand physically up.
Okay, got it. Go for it. Please go ahead and ask it.
Leanne,
Leanne, I've asked you to
ask your
unmute.
question.
Leanne, you're unmuted, so you can speak now.
Is that me? I'm Hazel. I'm not Leanne, but I don't know.
Okay.
I think the name
Great.
muddled up.
Some funny. Yes. Hi, Hazel. Welcome. How can
Hi, everybody. It's actually a question for Annie because I am seriously non-tech, and this is more an advice on a procedure. I have a public adjuster who has come in and done a very rapid race through. They're going to do an inventory to help me. I will be involved with pricing. I was not that impressed because they literally went round the house, click, 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 click. And now I've got to diagnose every single thing that's going to be in each of those images. Meanwhile, I've got a company that for, I think, a reasonable sum will come in, they'll spend a week and they will literally, with me there, take every darn thing out of every drawer. We're still standing, but with, toxic. They'll take everything out. We'll all be masked up, hazard gear, all of that stuff. And they will literally go through. I've got a ton of sentimental or vintage, antique. I'm a global textile collector for 40 years. And so on. It's incredibly tiny, tiny things, endless things to price up. Am I being ridiculous? No, I'm not being ridiculous because I've made my mind up. But to do the two processes, i.e. my public adjuster, who will take a percentage, and using a company that we will pay for, which we will hope to swallow up into our remediation costs, because we'll use that same company that are doing the inventory piece by piece by piece for the week, and have them also do the non-salvage, which is a lot of stuff. And then
Great, Hazel. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to try and let Annie answer that one.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Don Fanning from Eaton Fire Residents United says your insurance will pay for an inventory company.
Yeah, mine is, they don't like the price, but get the quote and submit it to your adjuster.
Yeah.
And get rid of the PA, I would say.
I know. We're sort of pretty stitched in with the
Or at
PA.
least for the inventory part, because then sounds like what company is doing inventory in your remediation?
Probably I shouldn't say.
Oh.
Maybe
but we have interesting, about the public adjuster. But they're
I'll
going to want
sidebar
a
with you.
percentage.
Yeah, I think that sounds like that would be super helpful, Dawn. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Anybody who has a standing home, Eaton Fire Residents United is a great place for you to go to get more information as they're tracking everything.
Yeah, they're doing great.
I went to their press conference actually on last Friday
Oh.
to hear about the, don't go back in the house until it's clean, because that's what they're making.
Hazel, I'm gonna just move the conversation on a little bit, but thank you very much. It's a pleasure to meet you. Is there any other tech questions that we want to address? Someone said they were having a hard time on your Apple getting Apple Photos to drag on the laptop, and I have seen it work just fine, but I know it can be tricky. So you can always just download them into a file and then drag that over as well. That would be another option for you as well.
Adam, have you called on Luis Alton?
Lewis, I thought we
Lewis?
did, but please jump on in, Lewis.
Oh, hi. Couple of quick questions.
Yeah.
Can you run your insurance policy through your system?
No, to
Okay.
analyze it? No, I wish we could.
Okay.
I wish we could.
Okay. There was
Great idea.
somebody, another thing.
Tugboat can do that.
Huh?
A group called Tugboat can do that.
Tugboat. Okay. And then how do we get your program?
Oh, it's just bevelmade.com.
Okay.
And you go there and just sign up for an account and get busy on it. It's that simple. It's
Okay.
free and
Thank
it's
you.
easy. You're welcome, of course. And listen, feel free to join the WhatsApp group or to email us too. We know if you we're happy to help in any way we can. In our community, there's so many people who've become so skilled at it as well that there's so many folks who are happy to help out.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Any other questions? Dawn, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a tech question.
Please.
So I was trying to take a photo of like one item and
Yeah.
it picked up images in the background, and then I had weird fragmented line items of
Yeah.
very random things, and I'm just wondering how to avoid that.
Yeah. So Arvind, I think you should talk about dupe detection and also bulk delete.
So
Thank
yeah, I mean, actually, in that scenario, if you just want one item, it might make more sense to just add that item manually and then include that photo as an attachment. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. If you want to upload the photo and have our AI find everything in the photo, then you use the upload button at the top of the room. If you just want to attach basically evidence, and you manually add that item and include it as an attachment.
So basically, I have a coat closet, and I was taking each coat out, laying it on the bed, taking a photo of it. Because obviously you wouldn't be able to see brand and design if I just took a picture of shoulders of coats, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it kept picking up pieces from other items laying behind it, because there's really no way to capture the contents of a closet without pulling the items out.
Yeah, so let me show you. I think in your case, you would come in and you'd say coat manually, and then you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
And then you click this button here, the little paper clip.
Yep.
And then you upload the photo here. That way you won't pick up anything extra.
Oh, I see. So I can't do the upload photo and let it generate. I've got to reverse engineer it.
Yeah, sort of like this button here at the top of the room. This is our AI button, and so it will extract everything it sees in the photo. But if you add the item and then you click this paper clip, that's just a manual attachment.
So can I add my suggestion there too? So we just did my husband's closet, and he's got a lot of clothing.
Yeah.
And you can do video. So what I did is I went through and I had everything hanging, and I just held the phone up, the iPhone up, and and if you say the brand, it actually will pick that up too. So I would go through, try and shoot it where it could see the label. And I would say, Brooks Brothers, Polo, Men's Warehouse, Suit Supply, and I would just go through there. It did an amazingly good job. And then for shoes, I took the video as well, and I would just turn each shoe upside down so it could see the label on the bottom of the shoe, Christian Louboutin or whatever it is. So those methods seem to work pretty well. Try that too.
So the audio gets captured and helps inform. That's super helpable to know.
Yeah. But try to make sure it can see the label too. But
Yeah,
because
of course.
you're doing a video, it knows not it's going to count everything in the video, which is what you want, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that
cool.
might work too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I forgot your name. You were the first question, and your name is not Desi, but
Okay, yeah, it's actually Bill.
Hi, Bill.
All right, hello. Just one more time. So I'm going to actually get your product. I'm going to download that, and I have my parents to do the same. So is it true that I think you guys said we can both be uploading that and then sharing? Like,
Yeah, Arvin, you want to show that?
Yeah. So at the top, once you create an account, you'll see at the top of the screen the share button. So
Okay.
you just come in here, you could create the account and share it with your parents or vice versa. And if you want both sets of people to be able to edit, just make sure you include this edit option. If you want them to
Oh,
only be able to see but not make any changes, then you just choose the view option.
okay, great. And then if we're both adding that in, you guys also said there's a prevention of us duplicating things too, right?
Well, we don't actually like prevent you from adding anything, but we'll alert you if something looks like a
Okay,
duplicate.
that's great. Fantastic. Thanks a lot, you guys.
But I will say, like, double check each other anyway, because if you call it a couch and your parents call it a sofa, it might think those are different. So,
Yes,
you know what I mean? So, like, we call these human in the loop tools. So it's trying to make your process better, but it's not going to replace the process.
absolutely. Hey, this is fantastic, you guys.
Awesome. Well, hope it goes well for you, Bill. Thank you. Leo, I think you had another question.
Yeah. So Adam, I was curious. I had talked to my insurance adjuster, and I asked them if they had heard about Bevel. They had not. And I'm just
Right.
curious, have insurance companies, given you any feedback? Have they talked to you guys? And also if, we submit this and then there's a discrepancy on the price that, Bevel came up and they say it's not worth anywhere near that or something like that. What do you do to go back? Do you just say, okay, I ignore what Bevel said and I go find it on my own and come up with the price that I think it is?
I think this is more of an Annie question because it's more a process question than a tech question, but I'm happy to
Yeah.
take the tech piece too.
Yeah, so if they dispute the price and you think that they're correct, you do your homework, you either negotiate with them and show them where they're wrong, or you accept what they're willing to offer.
Okay. And Adam, the feedback, have you gotten any feedback from insurance companies?
So we have had some great feedback from a couple of insurance companies. We have not really put ourselves out there a lot. So, but yes, we are working in partnership with one insurance company that has they've done such a good job that there's literally not even a WhatsApp group right now. And so it's it's a smaller
What happened?
carrier. Sorry? They've been great. They've been giving us really helpful feedback, and we're working with some insurance brokers as well for feedback. So, and so I think that it's been very, very helpful. In fact, we were just at their claims headquarters this week because we've gone to like insurance school. We're trying to learn how this process works. And, I think one of the things that we're learning is that every insurance company is different. They have a different policy language. They have a different set of internal processes. Some are using software, but we've discovered that a lot of them on the back end, they don't have good software either. So like they're doing it on spreadsheets too. And so I think a lot of it is just about who your carrier is and who your adjuster is. And Annie, I've heard from people that, like try to just have a friendly relationship. If your adjuster seems like they're trying, like you should try too. Don't assume the worst.
Yep.
But is that true? Is that your experience?
We always say polite assertiveness. Now, if that adjuster comes back from the weekend and there's 5 phone calls and 3 of them are angry, those 3 are going to get put on the wayside. So kill them with kindness, stand up for what your rights are, but pretend that's your child or a loved one on the other end of that line and document everything.
Yeah. Great. Well, I don't see any more questions, and we are happy to continue later, but I want to give people your evenings back. Feel free to, we've had a lot of people signing up to join the WhatsApp group. We have to approve you. It takes a minute, but we will approve all of you, and we're here for you. And I just want to say a huge thank you to my friends and my team in Arvind and Harel and Desi, and a huge thank you to Annie. Thank you so much. And to all of our community members and friends who have helped us out and been a part of this journey with us. It's a hard time, but the solace comes in the beauty of community.
Is it possible to ask? Hi, I'm sorry. I couldn't put my hand up and I have a quick question. I put it in the chat.
Yes, go ahead. Please.
So, and my name is Elizabeth. My sister's the one who dialed in. She lost her home and everything. I am in a condo that's still standing, but I had asked a question about whether there is a deadline for submitting for your various losses based on, personal property, dwelling, or loss of use.
Yes. So your loss of use has gone from, because it's a declared disaster, that can be available for you up to 24 months with an additional 12 months if you need it. And you
Okay.
still have money in that bucket. And then your contents is no less than 24 months. But and then replacement value is no less than 36 months. What I would really like for everybody to do is to simply send an email to your adjuster already saying, I'm going to need extensions on this. Could you please approve those? And then save that email, obviously.
Email them because it would otherwise be 12 months, you mean?
No, it would be it would be a minimum of 24 months for your contents, but you can ask, it gets extended to 36 months, but you have to ask.
I
So,
see, at that time. Then
and you want to have a paper trail.
So the
And
loss of use contents, and what's the third one? Oh, the structure. So like
And I just-
remediation and.
Wait, she didn't finish.
yeah, and so I put it in the chat. I put the California claim rules.
Yeah, I just added it again. So if you just
Oh,
check the chat right now, it should be right there.
Thank you very much.
And folks, I really encourage you to go to uphelp.org. They have been working for years doing this incredible work.
You can keep asking.
I'd also like to share with you that we're going to be back in town for 2 contents workshops. We will be using Bevel. One will be in Pasadena and one will be in the Palisades, and those are open to all of you. You do want to arrive early because we do have limited space, but we won't be experts at Bevel, but we're getting pretty darn good at it. And we just want to do it as a community. And we'll talk about a lot of different other insurance issues also.
What are the dates, Annie?
The dates are the December 6th in Pasadena, and that will be from 12 to 3 at the Pasadena Senior Center. And then on the 7th, we'll be in the Palisades at the American Legion from 10 to 1.
Just sent it again in the chat if you guys want to save that flyer.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3. Thank you. And thank you for answering my question.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Have a good a holiday season as we can, and we'll be in this together till we all get our last list in.